So you're running an ad or you're trying to put out a video content, you have just 3 seconds to hit. 3 to 5 seconds. With our parents, it's as much as 1 minute. Being B without VB is like a train without an engine. Blue band.
I'm a young entrepreneur. I'm trying to build a business here in Nigeria. So my question to the house would be, how should I market the business to the Nigerian public or even the African audience?
Meaningfulness, difference, and salience.
I do not think that there's any such thing as vanity metrics. Every number is necessary.
I think it's clear that AI is revolutionizing e-commerce. There's so many fashion brands in Nigeria, but then how do you want to make your brand stand out? What would make your brand very different from brand B or brand C, and want to make your consumers come again to buy your product over and over?
At the bane of everything marketing and even sales, you need to understand how humans think. The moment you understand that, you scale it across every part of marketing and you've won.
Let's talk about data. As marketing professionals, what's data to you?
The best types of virality are not planned. You could say that an ad is not performing, and all I have to do is look at the ad, look at the back end, and I can tell you the story in between and the top 3 reasons why it's not performing. So you should be able to have data that you're tracking across the 4 different marketing funnels. And you should be able to master them so much that the moment you look at your data, you know exactly what is most likely wrong with it.
I feel like this smaller company don't even give a damn about marketing. It's content creation they prioritize.
Screaming.
Cash flow is king. That's what you hear if you play in the business sector, if you run a business, or if you're a manager in any business. Cash flow is king. But there are 2 functions of a business that actually keep that cash flowing. It's sales and it's marketing. Today we're taking marketing because marketing creates the groundwork for you to have an excellent sales. Because once you have a good brand, it's easy for you to walk in and get deals, get partnerships, and even sell large numbers. So marketing has evolved over time. Before we had marketing being put up your flyers, own a physical store, and people will come in. But now marketing is more a science and an art form. The art form meaning, oh, does my content fit right? Is this content going to get to the right audience? How are we putting the cameras? How are we doing this? Now, the science form means the psychology of it. You're looking at data, you're looking at psychology. That's where target audience comes in. That's where cost of acquiring a consumer comes in, the long-term value of a consumer. I've brought 3 heavyweights with me. In their own right, they are all big players. I have my co-host. We have hosted 2 together. This is the 3rd one. 3rd time is the charm. Her name is Chiamaka, Francisca Udechukwu. She heads brands and communication for Spur and Panarottis across the country. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Another guest I have today, it's this space has a lot of bad PR, but they are cleaning it up. They just got their license. And if you drive across Lagos, you will see that crypto is not legal. She plays in the crypto industry. Her name is Tochy Emeroele. Tochy, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So Tochy handles business marketing for Quidax. So my last guest today that graced this occasion for me, I met her once. We met at an event, and I told her, man, I would love to have you because I heard her speak, and you guys should also hear her speak. She's the PR and cons for Nigerian Breweries. Stephanie, thank you for coming.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we'll go straight to it, and I'm going to put you guys on the spot. So let's start with this. I'm a young entrepreneur. I'm trying to build a business here in Nigeria. So my question to the house would be, how should I market the business to the Nigerian public or even the African audience?
Oh, okay. So let me just go first.
Yeah.
So we all know that branding is basically under marketing, but for branding, basically as an entrepreneur, the first thing you have to understand is who are my audience, who are the people that I want to speak with, and how do I position accurately to communicate with them, right? So basically your brand voice, your brand tone, all of those things, would have to be put together to position properly to your audience. So I think that's that should be like the first core thing to understand as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Certainly for PR and comms, what do you advise?
So because I do PR comms doesn't mean that I don't have knowledge in marketing, right? Because in Nigerian Breweries, PR and comms is also a department in marketing. So I think Chiamaka rightfully said branding is very important, and I won't want to repeat the same thing she has said, but something different that I would always like to reiterate all over again is to grow your brand. We have 3 levers, especially when you want to build your brand power in the market. And that's meaningfulness, difference, and salience. It's very important for your brand to be very meaningful to the consumer, because it's one thing to know who you want to speak to, but another thing for your brand to mean something to them. Another thing is difference, right? There's so many, for example, let's say you want to own you have a fashion brand. There's so many fashion brands in Nigeria. But then how do you want to make your brand stand out? What would make your brand very different from brand B or brand C? And want to make your consumers come again to buy your product over and over. And the last is salience. Are you top of mind awareness? Are you in the right media platforms? Are you at the right places? Are consumers purchasing your product? Do they remember you in their repertoire? So I think those are the 3 key things a business person or an entrepreneur should have when they want to also build their brand.
Nice. See, Tochy?
Thank you for letting me go last. And simply because I have had to work with people in branding, in PR and comms. And one thing stands unique for every niche in marketing, be it performance marketing, be it branding, be it growth hacking, be it PR and comms. It is psychology. At the bane of everything marketing and even sales, you need to understand how humans think. The moment you understand that, you scale it across every part of marketing and you've won. And so a part of really understanding that psychology of how humans think is one, what everyone does, which is trying to get the typical user persona. This is the person's name, their age, where they live, their gender. But the one thing that people don't take into cognizance is the cohort analysis. We're all within the same age range here, and we all have similar experiences about specific things. Now, think Teletubbies. Think Indomie. Think close-up toothpaste. Think B without VB is like a train without an engine.
Blue band.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We all have had the same experiences growing up.
Yeah.
And those experiences, positive, negative, neutral, where we don't even know where to place it, has formed who we are. We have a certain outlook to the digital world. You see a lot of people within our age range now want to take a break from maybe social media and their phones, maybe on Saturdays. You just want to put things on flight mode. But you see the people who are a bit younger, they don't want to do that. There's a higher level of addiction with them. You see the people older than us, listen, they can put off their data for like 1 week and they don't care if the world is tumbling over, right? And you even see, for example, with like our parents, the Second World War did a thing with them. The Biafran War, the Second World War, it messed them up a lot mentally. Not a lot of them might have gone to the war front, but they had experienced certain things. They were so messed up. You sometimes wonder why they are so diplomatic. It's the fear of scuffle.
Yeah.
They've had to deal with loss so much. They do not want scuffle. They do not want confrontation. We have not experienced that. We're more forward. We're like, why are you being so diplomatic? But when you understand people to that point, you're able to key into hitting their emotions enough. If, for example, a typical blue band wanted to remarket to us, all they need to do is leverage on B without BB. They bring a sense of nostalgia and they hit us.
I
They
think
want to
Indomie
hit our
did something
kids.
like that.
Indomie recently did that. Man, do good. And see, every time I see it, I smile so wide. And you're seeing what Colgate is doing now with the current kids. Every time I go to buy toothpaste, my kids, my nieces, my nephews, they want Colgate.
Oh.
They go to their schools, they give them packs with Colgate and the rest. You on the TV, you're seeing those children with their fallen teeth saying, my smile fine, no evil. They will grow up with those in their heads. Right? And you see that even the types of ads that are being targeted to them is a bit more fast-paced. It hits a part of their brain. They were born when the technology had stabilized a bit. They like the bright colors. If it's slower, you don't get them. So you're running an ad or you're trying to put out a video content, you have just 3 seconds to hit. 3 to 5 seconds. With our parents, it's as much as 1 minute. 30 seconds to 1 minute. They are more patient.
Yeah.
They're still trying to understand the space. And they're not so trusting. So they're trying to figure out, do I trust you or not? For us, it's not interesting enough. For the kids, it's not fast and bright enough.
Yeah.
And so when you understand these things, you are understanding how they think according to what they've experienced in their environment, in the time when they were growing up, when they're adults, and you better understand how to tell those stories. You better understand how to do that branding. You understand the colors you're using, the types of stories you're telling. You would notice now that storytelling is a bit different. It has to be very, especially for Africans who we're now embracing culture so much. It has to be, tell me a story about Mama Nkechi, about Iya Basera's restaurant.
Yeah.
You would see how Zikoko's stories go. A lot of these brands that are keen into storytelling, you'd see that they want to now tailor and personalize branding to the culture, to the people. And it comes down to like the tone, the stories they're telling, the colors they're using, all of those things.
Okay.
So it really just boils down to psychology being the foundation of when you understand it, you're able to just build from there.
Okay, that's nice. Let's look at strategy, marketing strategy, because I look at the Nigerian marketing space and I don't see much of it. And I will explain. Apple just put out 12 new series in the past 3 years, but they are not a movie distribution company. They are a film production company. You could see the movie that they did with Ted Lasso. You could see all the product placement there. They did another one again where they were focused on the rich lifestyle of people and how a friend was telling. I've forgotten the name. You see the product placement there. You see how they are using their features. You go to Porsche. Porsche just did a series with Adrian Brody, and they called it the intern. He visited their plant in Germany and he acted like an intern for a particular day. 500 million views. Stripe is also doing the same thing. In the Nigerian space, I'm not seeing much of strategy, and I've been asking myself, why? Is it that marketing is an afterthought for us, or there's no budget for it, or the average Nigerian entrepreneur does not send the Nigerian consumer to keep them engaged? I don't know.
So I think that's, the bigger guns, right? The global brands, they already have stories attached to them, right? They already have like a 10 years playbook, right? But I think that that's one thing that might have been or is missing when it comes to us building businesses here in Africa. If you look at it, we usually just start out of, sometimes there's no core need, right, that people want to meet. Other times it is hustle, in quotes, right? So it's just, as you just keep on building, you then start putting things together. I think that Piggyvest is one company that I want to relate with or relate this to. I believe that they are building something just like that through their founder storytelling kind of thing. And again, they are currently hammering how they started, right? They started because they saw a need. They noticed that we're all using Colo, right, and everything. So I don't think that we are not doing it. I just feel like marketing here in Africa is evolving. Maybe not as fast as the global brands or the global world is, but it's evolving and we'll soon get there. Because, I mean, there are other brands showing us that we can do it. The likes of Piggyverse, the likes of Cowrywise, and even the fashion guys, Tubo. Tubo is building her story. Vicky James is also, coming along, right? So we are. I think that we are building, we are evolving, and before time, people would jump on it.
I have a counter argument to that, but I'll wait to hear from Stephanie. And I have a counter argument.
I think your question is, you're not seeing brands playing the strategy. You don't see, right? So for me, I think strategy is not consumer facing, right? So what I mean is, you only see, it just is internal, right? So you might not really see what maybe I don't know. I don't want to mention any particular brand, but
Yeah.
you might not necessarily see what their strategy is. But like I said, is internal and it's not consumer facing. And I think as a big company like Nigerian Breweries, we understand what our strategy is, and and as much as possible, we try not to react to what competition is doing, because at the end of the day, you tend to lose focus, and then you tend to lose what your strategy is. So for us, you can tell that we're obviously the number one leading brewing company in Nigeria, and then you can tell that most of our consumers are beer drinkers, and of course malt drinkers and non-alcoholic drinkers as well. So in as much, if you actually pay attention to some of the experiences we create for consumers, some of the occasions we play in, some of the events we sponsor, and actually trace that to what the brand is all about, you can tell. For example, I don't know if you drink Desperados or Heineken. So for us, Desperados is one of our leading flavored beer with aguardiente, and I don't think there's any beer like that in the market in Nigeria. So if you look at the events we sponsor, the kind of consumers we appeal to, we sponsor platforms like Element House, where you see the unconventional, the Gen Zs, the ones with the bleached brows, the dyed hair. So, and then other people that consume our brands as well. Not that older people don't consume it, but data say that most of our penetration are in that space. So of course, I follow. Okay.
I have a crate of
Yeah.
a pack of.
So it's not like we're not trying. So it's not, I think it's just Prado is not consumed by all, but of course, like you said, art, science, and I love that statement. So that's also one of the behaviors we use to build brands: art, science, and courage. So the science part of it is the data. So we take consumer insights, because we're very big on consumer insights, right? So we use that to form our strategy. It's part of that to form our strategy, so that we're not trying to communicate to everyone, but we're trying to communicate to the people and also drive penetration, because of course you also want to drive sales at the end of the day. So in as much as she drinks Desperados, she drinks Heineken, she also want to tap into consumers that are not drinking Desperado. We also want you to come and drink. So that's want to also penetrate you as well. So we have that strategy across all our brands. We have more than 21 brands in Nigerian Breweries. So every brand has a strategy, and every brand speaks to his own particular audience. So
I agree with that, because you would see that all of their billboards in the East is written in Igbo.
But Hero is giving them a run for their money.
Try, but have you seen what Heineken does in the East?
I won't be here anymore.
Okay. It's because Lagos, they're making more money with the Southeast and South than with Lagos and the North. So a lot of their marketing goes there.
Oh.
You cannot, the level of merchandising that these people do. Heineken sells like crazy, please. I promise you. It's crazy.
Okay, so let's talk about data and how it's important to marketing. I think content is mainstream. Create content. But how about data? Some brands don't even understand what data is all about and how they can use data in their marketing. So as marketing professionals, what's data to you, and how are you introducing data in your day-to-day activities? Making decision in terms of, I'll start with you.
Yeah. I would say data is like 80% of my work. So vanity, I do not think that there's any such thing as vanity metrics. Every number is necessary, just in what context you're looking at it. From those impressions on social media to how they convert to generate revenue for you. It's all. So one thing that data has taught me over the years is you could say that an ad is not performing, and all I have to do is look at the ad, look at the back end, and I can tell you the story in between and the top 3 reasons why it's not performing. And so I'm seeing that, for example, an ad has 5 million impressions. I look at the bottom line and I'm seeing, let's say you put up this ad so you could get conversion at the end of the day, so people to buy, for example, an e-commerce store. And I'm seeing 15 purchases. The first thing I would do is to research on, in the e-commerce sector, what is the benchmark? What is the typical conversion rate from impressions, paid ad impressions to this? If it's telling me that, for example, it's a 20%, now I know that you're below par. The 3 things that I'm going to tell you to look at is go and back test all of your links. There might be a broken link that is causing drop-offs. Go and check the user journey. Are these people being onboarded and guided to come and make that purchase? And then go and look at your creative and how it aligns to your target market. So now when you're looking at the creatives, you better understand, and all of this is, I have just seen the first data, the starting point and the end. The ones in the middle, I would only look at them later on. But I now know how to optimize all the ones in the middle, right? And you have to get to the point in data where, one, you should be able to set up a simple dashboard. So you're running an ad. You should have maybe a Power BI dashboard or Google Analytics, for example, post hoc, they give you a simple dashboard that shows every data. You should be able to just look through impressions, costs per acquisition, number of link clicks, whatever, down to revenue generated, ROAS and all of that. You just look through this way. You're not supposed to scroll. You're just supposed to see it at first glance. What that does is you could monitor that campaign in real time, literally every hour. So you just open the tab, you look, you go ahead with your work. You open the tab. The moment there's a problem, you open the tab, oh, something is wrong. But a lot of people do not key into that. A lot of people do not understand how data-driven marketing has gotten, because it's now very digital, right? So from the moment that you're thinking about your strategy, for every strategy you have, you should have a metric let's look at the marketing funnel. For awareness, you're supposed to look at things like the number of impressions, right? When I was go-to-market consultant for Temu's penetration into Nigeria, the first set of PR round that we did across Twitter and co, and the ads that we had run, they were majorly for awareness. We had conversions, yes, but because they were for awareness, we were tracking impressions. But you hear a lot of people say impressions are vanity metrics.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the most important metric in awareness. You want to know how many eyes, how many eyeballs saw this. Even if it's repeated, that's not a problem, right? So you're measuring things like that. You're measuring under consideration. Under awareness, you can still measure things like engagement rates, right? But under consideration, you measure that more, because you'll see in your comment section, there are more people asking questions. It could be negative, but it's still great. It's giving you an idea of where people's heads are at.
Yeah.
So you're measuring engagement rate, how many reposts, how many likes, how many shares, right? And then you're coming down to conversion, where you're making the money. You're doing campaigns for conversion. At this point, you're looking at more data. So you're going from impressions to engagement to the money. And then you go to loyalty. And you're now looking at the people within your funnel. how long do they want to be there? What's the customer lifetime, right? So how many repeat purchases? What's the spaced out time, right? And this is just for B2C. So you should be able to have data that you're tracking across the 4 different marketing funnels. And you should be able to master them so much that the moment you look at your data, you know exactly what is most likely wrong with it. It's like you go to a doctor. They ask you your symptoms. They make a hypothesis before they send you to run a test.
Yeah, it's true.
You should be able to master data so much that the moment you look at it, you know what is wrong or what is right. Now, the thing about knowing what is right is you cannot scale if you cannot specifically say, this is how I got from point A to point B. And that is where data matters. If you have just grown your followers by 1,000, you should be able to explain how you did it. Now, that strategy that ensured that that happened is what you scale by now doing like paid ads and all of that. If you don't know, you will keep guessing. So you're going up, down, up, down. What growth looks like is it goes up, it stabilizes, it goes up again. Maybe it goes down a little, stabilizes again, goes up again. It's not, you're not a stock exchange market, right? So yeah, that's really how I think about, how to position data.
Yeah, I really like when she mentioned e-commerce, like she was reading my mind, basically. But I mean, just also speaking a little bit on that, I think it's clear that AI is revolutionizing e-commerce, and that way allowing brands to tailor high experiences or to their consumers. Or to their target audience, basically. So for us, from dynamic pricing to recommendations, you now see data analytics also allowing brands to respond with precision and anticipate needs of their consumers. So for us in Nigerian Breweries, we are also integrating AI-driven insights into our consumer engagement across board. And then we understand how our consumers are shopping online, particularly said e-commerce. That's something also we're also piloting as well. I think we're doing a few things, but obviously with technologies, AI coming in, we're also trying to expand and ensure that we're targeting our consumers with the right bundles, incentives, and all of that. So it's very important, like she rightfully said. I don't think now we should be using the traditional method of marketing, right? So we should ensure that whatever communication or when we're trying to drive purchase, we're also ensuring that it's backed behind data and insights as well. So of course, I think now there's an opportunity for brands to ensure that they scale their marketing, their sales using AI-driven tools, just to ensure that they are also penetrating into the market.
Okay, so I would say that Tochy and Stephanie have basically said it all. And I think that one thing that has just consistently rung in my head is omnichannel marketing or omnichannel campaigns, right? So I was basically mentioning omnichannel campaigns, right? Basically leading your customers all around your platforms, right? With that data, so you're basically seeing how they're, interacting with your campaigns, how they're interacting with your product, your services, or anything in one platform, and leading them back to, maybe where you eventually convert them, right? So I think that data could help or helps with that. But I think regarding your question, if we are really seeing or if we really understand it, right? I feel like marketers do understand data, but because of sometimes lesser resources available. I mean, I've been with organizations that, everybody claims to want to use data, right? But because of unavailability of resources, you just have to sometimes do it manually, right? Understanding the kind of creative you have to put out, understanding that, okay, if my customer comes in, how do I, eventually convert that person? So most times it is advantageous only to the bigger companies, but the smaller ones, to be honest, we all know that data is important, but because of limited resources, there's just this inability to, understand it fully, right? Or follow it up fully.
That makes sense. I feel like this smaller company don't even give a damn about marketing. It's content creation they prioritize.
Screaming.
Yeah, I feel like there's no. I feel in the US, smaller brands catch up to the big brands using content. So they design shows, they produce those shows, and they distribute those shows. So they close the gap between what the big brands are doing with content. But here in Nigeria, I think everybody wants to. They don't just do talking head video. Then it's called marketing, especially from the small business part
Hustle
of
culture.
it.
Everybody just wants to make quick bucks. There's no thought of sustainability. What are we doing long term? How are we looking at this long term? Right. They look at marketing as an economic pit. You just put in the money.
Mm.
So I've heard founders say, "We just want to go viral." I'm like, sir, what does that even mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the best types of virality are not planned. If you want to plan it, you will put in a lot of money to plan it. But you just want to do a random video and you're holding me to say, why didn't it go viral? Clearly wishes were horses. They're looking for the fastest way to make money.
Yeah.
Recently, there were people that were saying on Twitter that a lot of brands do not even invest in loyalty. Someone said, I stopped using this brand for over a month, and not for a day had they sent me a message.
Yeah.
And I use them all the time. It's not like I use them every month. I use them all the time. And then they're randomly sending me a message. Someone said, oh, they now randomly sent me a message. They were talking about another brand. And then they were talking to me about a promo, not realizing I had churned.
What's
That
churn?
was
From
You fall out. So you're no more, they've not realized that this person was probably using us every 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a month. We should have checked up. We should have known her user behavior to the point where we would understand if she's not been using us the first 3 days, next one. By the third one, you should be reaching out to say, oh, hey, what's going on? Do you need help with something? Is there a problem? Is there a reason you've churned? They don't do that.
Mm.
And then 1 month later, they're sending you promo.
So that's why I said omnichannel, right? A lot of brands here in Nigeria rarely do omnichannel campaigns. So with omnichannel, you're able to intertwine, or would I say you're able to let all your platforms interact. So you basically follow up, at every cycle of the customer lifetime, journey, or the customer purchase journey or anything. So most brands, because they don't particularly pay attention. So I'm currently preaching that. I'm preaching it with, all my chest, right? We should be able to have platforms that are, connected, right? So that when I'm coming to your platform, I'm purchasing something, you already have my data, right? And maybe after like 2-3 weeks, you're running a promo and I'm not interacting with that promo, you should be able to send me an email, telling me, oh, how are you? How have you been? Then also informing me of that promo. So with omnichannel interaction, right, those brands would now be able to, know when, customers are, almost at that point of churning, or, basically understand the customer lifetime journey, around their brand. So that's one thing that I feel like some African brands have not really integrated into, their marketing.
Oh, might be a lot.
Tell me, what do you say?
No, I think they're right. I don't know. I don't have anything else to add because it's very clear. Connected experiences across all touch points. So there's awareness. I don't know. I can't remember. It's step by step, but I know there's awareness. Yeah.
Interest,
There's
desire,
consideration.
action.
There's conversion, and then there's loyalty. So that's very important as well. That those funnels. So in as much as you're driving that awareness, also very important for them to come back and buy your product again and again.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that loyalty with them, if you don't keep on checking on them, telling them you have promos or you've just launched a new product or happy birthday or something, then of course that's consumer connection is not there. I remember when a senior colleague at work said there's an app he uses to send some money abroad to his relative or something. And then I think after a while, maybe they reached out, or when he did, I can't remember, but the whole idea was they reached out after and said, oh, thank you for doing this, or sorry, we've not heard from you, something like that. But the whole idea was they gave him a feedback, like they got back to him and also wanted to improve on their services. So of course, those kind of things are also very important, because I think that consumer connection is extremely important as well. So
Yeah, so let's talk campaign. We could talk marketing, but campaign is everything. Campaign gives you access to millions of people. But the question is, what makes the right campaign? Or how do I design a right campaign to reach the millions of people I want to meet? So I lead growth and marketing for an Australian firm. We do athletes' mental health. So we go in with clubs, we go in with federation, and we discuss with them about their athlete mental health, and we create programs for them. And now we are trying to go direct to consumer, meaning that we can access directly to the athlete instead without going to the clubs, the country, or the federation. And we have been on this campaign trail for like a month. We have refused to agree on anything. So maybe this video, I'll send it to them and say, this is campaign and this is what I'm talking about. So let's talk campaign. How do we plan campaign? Give for an example, I'm starting up a business. I want to sell shoes. What kind of campaign should I be looking at doing?
Life cycle.
Well,
The reason campaigns fail, it's because there are no plans. So marketing teams focus a lot, and businesses generally focus a lot on what should happen before and what should happen during, but not what should happen after. So you have that large influx. What do you do with them in the long term? So what ensures that a campaign is successful is that you minimize the number of people who leave after. So a campaign should be looked at as multiple things. So when you're planning, you're thinking this campaign, the aim is to run as probably a lead generation magnet. It's attracting people, yeah? The point where it's attracted people, people assume, oh, because they've come into my funnel, they are ready to convert. A lot of times they're not. They're probably comparing you to, so they're still under consideration. At that consideration point, you're supposed to load people up emotionally, understanding that the frontal cortex, that emotional part, that is where decision making is made.
yeah.
And so you need to tell stories, and that's where hypersegmentation comes in. You're trying to segment people in as little buckets as possible according to their unique features. Like platforms, softwares like Mixpanel and Co could help you do that. So you've seen what their behaviors are outside of your funnel and then within your funnel. And it could be segmentation by age, which is also very cohort analysis related. It could be segmentation according to customer behavior, so spending patterns and all of that. Udemy does that, where if they notice that you've put in your credit card on your laptop to buy things, and they've seen how much you spend according to your cookies and the type of sites you visit, a particular course might be more expensive with your laptop. And then when you check it with your phone, it's less expensive.
this is like,
Yes.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Udemians.
Yes, I've noticed
Even with
that.
them.
Yeah.
So there's that. That is the omni-channel marketing that she was talking about, where it's now very personalized to you, how you behave, how you spend, how you react. So when you're able to hyper-segment people in that way, in a pool of 1 million people that you generated, you could be having over 50 segments. And that's what I always say, if you want to go big with marketing, it's not one person or 5 people.
Definitely.
It's plenty people, because there's so much to monitor at that point. Now, to each of them, you curate stories, communication that ensures that they are nudged to the point where they convert. Let them naturally believe. Nobody likes sales, so if you push them to, they will churn, they'll run away. So you keep telling stories, you keep nudging them, you keep, easing them into the system. The moment they convert, you have now entered the point where you're monitoring how frequently, right? So product stickiness happens when someone is able to use your product on an average of 5 times. That's when gamification comes in. The aim of gamification is to ensure that addiction happens as quickly as possible, right? So with Temu, that's where you'd see, and even with Chowdeck, you'd see spin the wheel, right? You would see certain incentives. You have to first do that initial conversion for those to happen. The aim of those is not conversion, it's to elongate how long you'll be within the system to spend money. So now when they convert, you start hyper-segmenting all over again. Because now you're segmenting them to ensure that there is product stickiness. They've come back a minimum of 3 to 5 times, knowing that the 5th one is the charm. They come back and they purchase by the 5th time, but this is for B2C brands, right? If they convert by the 5th time, the chances that they will keep converting if you keep doing the right thing is high. So if you're able to stabilize having a lot of people move through to product stickiness, then you start hyper-segmenting again for loyalty. Here you're building community. You're trying to ensure that you have foot soldiers. If they drag your brand on Twitter, there are people that will come out and say, no, that's our brand, you don't drag our brand. Chowdeck has that. Yeah, Chowdeck has that. Bolt has that. Until there were like a lot of continuous rokus between the drivers. But before then, they did have that. They're brands that you have to come correct to say they did anything bad to you. Go Lemon currently is building that. If you come, Piggy Vest has that. If you drag Piggy Vest, you will see. Try it on Twitter. See if you come out alive. But that's where you start building community. You're doing stories, you're doing curated events. You are reaching out personally. You are sending specific value-added services to specific segments, right? Now that's when a campaign has won. When you're able to look at it through the entire life cycle and plan for it. So I don't like to use campaign. I like to use rollout plan. So I want to push something into the market. I want to have a rollout plan. Dream Count, Chimamanda, when she released it, did you notice what happened there? It was first that there were bloggers and journalists who had gotten insight before the official release.
Otedola is doing something like that now.
For his book.
Yeah.
They keep dropping snippets. They keep raising awareness. And then there was a wait list. And then when it was released, all the bookstores had it. It was released in batches. Why? Scarcity. They needed to make people keep craving. And while that was happening, you now started seeing Chimamanda on tour. She started the tour from her house. She will talk about it. 2-minute video. She would go to smaller bookstores. She would read a few pages. It would be publicized. She did a bit of that, There was more supply into the market. More people started buying. They had gone past the waitlist phase. It was now the active buying. And then Chimamanda started what? Country tours. She came to Nigeria. She did Lagos. She did Abuja. I think she did Port Harcourt.
She did Enugu.
She did Enugu.
Yeah.
Thank you. She went full blown at that point. It wasn't the bookstores anymore. It was now the community. Right? And then she went from that. And then she was now also doing a bit of podcasts here and there, all of that. You think she didn't know what she was doing when she had dropped that, or, you know, the twin thing where, I just had my twins. All of that was to push the book. So you'd see step by step. It had started with drip campaigns, small, and then it went full blown, and people were more accepting of it.
I think musicians and writers and movie producers do a lot of rollout than brand.
Let me give you an example. Look what a hot body can do. Yeah. The Mavis Records has hacked drip campaigns and rollout plans.
Okay.
They do that. Arasta cannot go on tour now. Drip campaign is still happening. A little. So it's the challenges on Twitter, on Instagram, all of that. And then they go from there, and then the world tour starts. The world tour would start with, when they've gotten enough data, they segment, they see where the highest listeners are. That's where you start the tour. You cannot afford to fail. Flop your first 3 tours. Because what that means for the brand is that you have failed. So people were surprised when Rema started his stores in India, forgetting that that's pop culture. Yes, of course. Why won't Indians listen to that song? He was dancing like an Indian. It made sense. But that was they had a proper rollout plan that kept changing according to the phase they were at. And so they were able to monitor and say, let's hit India first. And he kept getting sold out before he even started. He has not still done Nigeria.
Nigeria, the Nigeria facilities for
So see him. We have seen him.
But from a PR perspective, what do you think about campaigns and how it should be carried out?
So when we have like workshops at work, maybe like a week out at the office, from the office, and we're going through campaigns, we have like a creativity ladder, and the top of it is legendary and the bottom of it is destructive. And destructive is creativity or campaigns that can, kill, that creativity that destroys the sales or reputation of a company. And then legendary is creativity that will be remembered even beyond death or after death, right? So when we have campaigns, we try to, when we want to build campaigns or when we've created a campaign, we try to run it through that creativity ladder, the creative ladder. And there are so many things that go behind building a campaign. Even I feel like the end result of it, which I'll still come back to, is even the medium. That's the media we have put, because it's one thing that we always tell ourselves to do the really nice things, do the fancy things. But if the media is not there, if people are not aware of it, then what's the point? If you're just locked in a box in your office or your agency's room, whatever. But I think one thing we're deeply rooted in is the consumer insight, like I keep saying again and again. So you already have the campaign you want to build. For example, a practical example I'll give is a campaign that we're currently running for Amstel Malta is Be Your Best. And we try to bring that campaign to life through the ads that we do, the ambassadors or the influencers that we use, the kind of storytelling that we do. So we're saying be your best. Be your best simply means Amstel Malta wants you to be your best at every point in life. So be it your career, be it your business, be it your personal journey, be it your ambition, your passion, whatever. So we want you to be your best. So what we do is when we're bringing that campaign name or theme to life, when we're building campaign creative or assets, we try to use figures that embody that personality of being their best. Someone that we know that if we're speaking to the mass market and we know that, okay, we're using, for example, a JJ Okocha in the ad. Everybody knows who JJ Okocha is. He's a legend, right? So we already know that JJ Okocha is someone that resonates across board. There's an example. So we use figures like that, and then we tell the story of how they've built their foundation. They've built their careers from the foundation, how they started and where they are, and some of the hurdles and obstacles that they have faced, and then how they overcame it, and how they are currently in being their best in what they're currently doing. I'll try to do that. We create that and then we put it out. So from a media point of view, it's one thing to also put it out there, but you need to keep on sweating the assets because you need to know if the asset is resonating with your consumers. So we try to ensure that we're putting our campaigns out there for let's say minimum of, depending on the platform, but let's say minimum of 6 weeks, right? So we're sweating the assets over again. We're checking, are consumers or are the audiences resonating with this ad? Do they like this ad? What do they think or feel about it? So then we take that and then we tweak where we need to tweak. And then also platforms also an important medium in play, because in as much as we had a target, we also want to ensure that we're speaking to the consumers at the right place at the right time when they are receptive, right? So we're not just putting it out there, because you need to ensure that your assets are not failing, they are working. So you need to keep on sweating it. You need to keep on optimizing it. So we put it in platforms or social media mediums or platforms that are working, where we know our target audience will resonate with them. So then we also try to also say that campaigns should not only be, it you need to keep on sweating, because sometimes what we always tell ourselves is we do a campaign and only run it for like 3 months, 4 months. Why? I think this Colgate ad has been running since like maybe last year.
yeah.
And I would love the ad because it's always, ma'am, well, I can't remember the name, but it's not the baby, the teeth and everything.
Cute.
From on YouTube, I'm seeing it. If I'm driving and I put it on the radio channel, I'm hearing it. So you can see how they're sweating that asset. And I'm sure if that campaign wasn't working, or that asset wasn't working, they would have probably flushed
Rolled
out
it
of
out.
yeah, exactly. So it's very important for you to ensure that your asset is legendary, your campaign is legendary and not destructive at the end of the day.
Well, okay, so for me, I'll talk for the brands that do not have the big budgets, right? I would just first of all say that one, you have to understand your strategy, then you decode your audience. I mean, just like Tochy and Stephanie have rightly said, you understand where they would be, where they are, what they resonate with, right? And then you plan accordingly, with or without the big budget. You just have to first off understand, know your strategy, know your goal, what do you want to achieve, decode your audience accurately, right? And also ensure that when they come in, you try as much as possible to let them be loyal or become loyal. So basically build loyalty. You might not have all the budgets, right? I've not worked with, a large number of budgets before, but we've just always made it work one way or the other by understanding what people really want to see. I would take for example when I was in cinema, the Deadpool and Wolverine campaign that we ran. We noticed that a lot of people were resonating to skits and everything, and we took advantage of that. And I mean, from what we saw, from the results we saw, we were able to make it the number one performing movie in the cinema as at that time. So yes, that's basically
So
what I was saying.
our timer just went off. So I'll take this last segment to ask 2 questions, 2 in 1. So the first one would be digital trends. What are you seeing in terms of digital trends? I know YouTube is a big deal now, and it will continue to be a big deal. There's a particular company that just released a Spur app. And I saw their rollout for that Spur app, and I wasn't impressed. It was like, we did an event, we have posters all across Third Milan Bridge, but you could have done better. At least a lot of people don't even know what this app is all about. We did our study across their YouTube channel and also saw that, okay, you have not found a way to connect this app to the everyday life of the Nigerian, so why should I download the app? So in terms of digital trends, what should brands be looking at? And my second question would be, how do we market Nigeria? We have a very poor image globally. How do
You
we,
mean marketing Nigeria
as a country,
brand? Okay.
no, as a nation, we have
Huh.
the Nigerian brand is at its all-time low globally. I interface with the global community, and I know how it is. I have to work 2 times harder just to show people that, okay, I'm not a fraud, or I'm not coming to do this to harm you. But how do we grow the Nigerian brand? My second question.
I will not take that one.
Okay, so I feel like we're already marketing Nigeria. I mean, what we're doing, by the time audience from the other countries or continents see what we're saying, they tend to, we're shaping that perception already, right? Yes, we have the louder ones out there, but what we are currently building, right, our storytelling content that is currently coming up, right, both from marketers, founders, everything is basically marketing Nigeria, so we are showing the other phase of the country already. So I believe that we are already doing that, right? We're already doing that. This is one part of it. We just need the government to align. Then your second question, so I think that one thing I've started noticing is brands jumping on cultural trends, right? Cultural trends, user-generated content. I mean, consumers are becoming more, open to relating and, talking about brands that they use. So I think that those 2 things are stuff that brands should start, aligning with, right? So in essence, building community to the point where anybody could, relate with your brand and want to post it online. I mean, I'm doing that with the brand that I work with. I'm encouraging my customers to always, once they go into my location, take a picture, take a video, tag us. We'll definitely repost. So user-generated content is one great way that, I mean, is one thing that I've noticed here digitally.
Authenticity is still aligned to what Amaka just said. Trying to get people to tell your story for you is what builds community.
Yeah.
The more people are talking about you, the more trustworthy you become. And you basically just become a thought leader. I would use Money Point as an example. Money Point is one of my favorite brands. They did boots on ground. These people just went into the market because they understood that they were more product-led, right? That wasn't a brand that you were going to use. You were not going to penetrate the market for Money Point by just running digital ads. They needed affiliates. They needed people on ground that would walk into these business stores, have these conversations. Now they are going bigger on digital marketing, but when they had started, it wasn't so much of that. Money Point is a brand that crept into all of us. We didn't see them coming. We just heard Money Point show morning and it's
I agree.
But they did a lot of groundwork for about 5 years. Merchandising the stores, having conversations with people to switch out their POSs, to try them as the alternative POS, right? And then over time, these people adopted by seeing that, oh, these guys are faster. These guys are doing this better. I have lower chargeback rates, all of that. Okay, so just keep the bank's own. Let's be using Money Points. And then gradually, they now got into the digital space after they had achieved product market fit with their primary audience. Now you're seeing them getting into consumer banking, right? Where they are now doing like, consumer facing. There is Morning World that people are now using, but they're still leveraging the brand that they built with businesses using their POSs, right? Nobody knew them a lot as Team Apt. They were initially Team Apt before they became Money Point, right? And Team Apt, I believe, had pulled back because there wasn't product market fit, literally. And then, when they now pulled back, rebuilt their product because they were listening, they were able to penetrate traditionally, unconventionally, and then they got into the market, right? So I would say just trying to build in such a way that people are your biggest gospel bearers. They are the ones talking about you. It's not enough for you to talk.
Yeah.
It's better when people are sharing, people are reposting, people are talking about you. That's when you're growing your market share. So, for marketing Nigeria, no matter what we do, we're in a country where we need the government to do more. We have marketed enough. Not a lot of African countries have as much clout as we do online.
I agree.
Imagine we had as much infrastructure as certain African countries, say Rwanda, Kenya, or even South Africa. Imagine how far we would go with the much clout that we have. We're so digital driven here, right? So I think we're doing a great job marketing. You're seeing founders making millions of dollars, raising funds all the time. You're seeing people getting global jobs. You're seeing people getting visas all the time from Nigeria, so much so that they are now saying our quota for Nigerians is finished, right? And that just goes to show how much we're putting ourselves on the global map. You're seeing every country now, you're seeing people listening to Afrobeats. They all know our musicians, all of that. It means that we are doing a great job marketing the country. But they're just things that keep holding us back, right? The general image of who we are, who our government is. Because again, it's a top-down approach. The government represents all of us. And so cleaning that part up would help to move us to the next, or even the next 5 levels of where we should be on the global map. So
So for me, I'll just summarize mine with the digital technologies and then creators, because I think your first question was on digital trends. So first of all, digital technologies is already redefining creativity in Africa. So from smartphones to AI-powered tools, you now see that content creators now have powerful and cost-effective resources to produce and distribute their content at scale. So you see platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Shopify now enabling monetization and visibility. So for us in Nigerian breweries, we see this as an opportunity to co-create culture. So we're not just placing ads, but we're also partnering with creators to tell authentic stories. So for us, we want to build an ecosystem where content and commerce can thrive together.
Yeah, I like what you guys do with Ladipo.
Yeah,
So
that was my campaign. Campaign, and he won a global award.
No, it's fine. So, thank you guys for coming. It's been an excellent session. I think for me, I'll just close it out with marketing Nigeria. I feel like there's a gap, and the gap is selling the Nigerian dream to the younger generation. It's becoming harder and harder to travel abroad. If you want to go abroad now, you have to spend 50 to 60 million to go. If I get 50 to 60 million, I don't go Ihiti. 1 million.
They send them babies got relocated. So I mean,
It's on the government to take charge and say, okay, what do we sell as a Nigerian dream to people? They have content now. They have social media. They have YouTube. I'm expecting Nigerian-led documentaries from the Ministry of Communication. This is the Nigerian dream. This is how this business goes from here to here. This is how this business is changing this sector, getting people to believe in the country Nigeria. Because America do it through their movies. You never see an American lose a war or lose a fight. They always sell victory, 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 and they always sell the land of opportunity. We have
diversity.
and
Always doesn't.
and freedom. We haven't sold anything as the Nigerian values, the Nigerian culture, and I feel it's what the Ministry of Communication needs to do better because it's trickling down on all of us.
They should get us as consultants. Okay. Do you understand?
So-
Get us as consultants.
Thank you guys for coming. Like, share, subscribe. You subscribing, you liking makes the channel go bigger, and we can get these ladies again doing bigger stuff for us. Thank you so much, and God bless.